Hey, this is Keith Mohr here with Musicians Anonymous for another show. Thanks so much for checking out the show. We're now on iTunes, Spotify, and we're pretty much everywhere where podcasts are at. We also are at musiciansanonymous.com. So if you're watching us somewhere else, always go over to musiciansanonymousshow.com, actually is where we're at. And today, I've got an old friend that I haven't seen in a while, Mr. Tom Jackson. And
Not that old.
No, well, I mean, we go back to like 2004, I think, maybe. I mean, met you at Estes Park.
Yeah.
And we both kind of ran in the Christian music space, and Tom still does quite a bit in the Christian music space. But I'm going to talk about you in the third person right now. I know it's a little weird.
No worries.
But you may have already known about Tom. He is kind of like a living legend in the live performance scene. He helps bands and also, duos, trios, solo artists on stage. So he's got lots of great information for you. Tom, how did you get into this thing? Like, how did you end up where you're at right now? I know you're a California guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so tell me how you got here.
I was in a band. Well, really, it was, you have those defining moments in your life. One of those defining moments was I was touring in 1980. And we were doing tours, and we had set up one Saturday afternoon before we were doing a concert. We were in a tertiary market. We weren't even in a secondary market. We were not well known, but we had, we did well. We did good touring. So 1,200 tickets sold. We're all set up. We go out and play some football, and our drummer breaks his arm. And we're 5 hours from the show, in the middle of nowhere. And they've sold the tickets. So, as they say, the show must go on. He played with one arm. He wasn't even a good drummer with two arms. And I remember standing on stage, sweating bullets, just because we were so bad. No dynamics, no tempo. It was terrible.
Just kind of stood there and
it was just terrible.
Yeah. And you played what instrument?
I played bass.
Nice.
And I remember thinking, they're going to start throwing things. Well, we finished the song, and we got a standing ovation. And to me, it was the aha moment of, oh my gosh, what the audience is paying attention to is different than what me as a musician on stage is paying attention to.
That's true, yeah.
And so it started me this journey of, okay, what does the audience pay attention to? Why does an audience even come to a gig? So how do we... people ask me, what do you do? I say, well, I'm kind of a marriage counselor.
Yeah.
The band is, no sexist thing here, just to make a point. The band or the artist is the guy, and the audience is the wife. So, I hear people say, oh, if you're just having a good time, your audience will have a good time. No. So the idea is I may love my wife, but if she doesn't know it, then we're in trouble. So you may have all this great music and have fun doing it, but you got to make that connection with your audience. So I started looking into, what connects with an audience emotionally? And that's how I started doing this almost 30 years ago.
Almost 30 years, and you're still doing it.
Yeah.
And like I said, you've worked with some really big people. Who have you worked with in your career?
Well, there was a guy that was 6'6". He's really big.
He was really big, yeah.
The
Talking
name's
about well-known.
Oh, okay.
Not that, yeah. Always a smart aleck.
Yes, I am. Well, the people that people would know, would be obviously a Shawn Mendes, a Taylor Swift, a Van Perry.
Yeah.
Literally over 150 acts.
Wow.
Country acts, pop acts.
Yeah.
LeCrae was a hip-hop act that I worked with.
Yeah.
In the old days, Jars of Clay, the Four Hymns of the World, tons of rock bands.
Yeah.
I cut my teeth doing this in L.A., getting artists ready to go out and do showcases.
Yeah.
That's how I started doing this.
Yeah.
So, but literally 150, 200 acts. I don't know after a while.
Yeah, you start losing track.
Yeah.
Do you find that there's the same issues over and over and over again?
Constantly. It's just like any business. The problem is the problem. Anyone watching this, if they have a day job, if it's customer service, whatever it is, generally speaking, 95% of the problems are all the same thing all the time. So yes, And same problems for 30 years.
Same problems.
Yep.
So is it, what do you do like when you first start working with a band? You just stick them on stage, let them play a song, and then you're going, hey, we got to do this. Like, what's your process?
Well, the process is they send me their music first.
I got you.
I try to get a vision for what they're trying to do. So I talk to the main person or management or the main artist usually, and say, so what are you trying to accomplish? And then, of course, sometimes they don't even know what they need in many cases. So I listen to the music. I come into rehearsal. They go up and play for me. I take some more notes because I want to see them. Now, nowadays, which is beautiful, is you have YouTube.
Yeah.
So they'll send me some YouTube. They'll send me their recordings.
Yeah.
And then I walk into rehearsal. We'll play 4 or 5 songs. They'll play. Say stop, and then we start breaking the songs down.
Yeah.
And this is where, I'm a marketing nightmare because people think I'm a choreographer or a drama dude or a dance, and I don't do any of that.
Right.
The idea is to create moments in a show. That's my MO.
Yeah.
How do we create moments that connect with an audience? And then a key for you guys is if you create those moments, but you got to create them by rearranging your song so that it works.
Right.
You create those moments, and then you build your merchandise around those moments, because people will buy those moments that are memorable.
Right.
And if you've got something, whether it's a T-shirt, a drumstick, I've got some groups that sell drumsticks because I work on like drum breakdowns, and they have autographed their drumsticks or whatever.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, and merchandise sales soar. This is hard to believe, and sometimes I'm just reticent to say it. But when I first started working with Taylor, she went out the first half of a tour with Brad Paisley and did her show, and then I got her during the Christmas break before she went out the second half. We took the exact same songs that she did in the first half, but created moments out of them in the second half, and her merchandise went up 600%.
Wow. And she's really good at what she does.
She is. Oh, yeah.
I mean, you could tell that she did go to the Tom Jackson School.
Oh, yeah. She's done the work. I love her because she does the work.
Yeah. Well, last week there was a young artist here that recently moved here, and I know him from my contest, Joe Hansen. And I know that Amy, who works with you, has been working with Joe, and he did a set here, and man, I was like, holy cow. I mean, he's a completely different artist.
Yeah. Well, actually, when you say that, that scares some people.
Yeah.
Really, you're not a completely different artist. You're just so much better at what you do.
Yeah.
And it's an investment of time, energy, and money to learn how to do a show. But here's what I don't want to say everyone, but here's some of the problems I have that I get all the time. One is what artists do is this. They write the songs. They go out they learn them. If it's a band thing or something, they go in a rehearsal room and learn them. And then they string them in a short order. And then they go out and wing it on stage and hope something good happens.
Right.
And that's no way to do it. That's like putting a football team together.
Right.
Bunch of guys. Okay, somebody can catch the ball, somebody throw the ball, and then you go back and start drawing the plays in the dirt again.
Right.
It makes no sense.
Yeah.
So people play songs, they don't create moments. That is by far the biggest issue.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of boring.
Yeah. Well, some songs, let's face it, and everyone here watching this, or you and I, every once in a while, songs create moments. And that actually, in some ways, is a problem.
Okay.
Because oh my gosh, this song will work no matter what, because it's just the right song at the right place at the right time.
Give me an example.
Well, I'll go back to what I said just a minute ago. Jars of Clay had the song Flood.
Yeah.
Didn't matter what they did with the song. Nothing. Just as soon as they started playing it,
everybody knew it.
They knew it and they loved it.
Yeah.
I could go on and on with songs like that. I had a group that I worked with called Magic. They had that song, Why You Gotta Be So Rude, Gonna Marry That Girl. The song was #1 in 61 countries. All they have to do is start playing the song. It works.
Yeah, everybody knows.
The problem is, what do you do with the other songs that you've recorded that don't do that to an audience? and that's my job.
I got you.
Yep. Yeah.
Gotcha.
See, I think having a number one song or a big hit, let's just say big hit, on the radio is the hardest thing to do in this music industry. First of all, you got to write the song. It's got to be recorded right. It's got to be mixed right. It's got to get out to the parties to be that'll play it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it goes on and on. It's got to go through all these gatekeepers to get on the radio to the people who are listening on the radio. And then it's got to connect with the people while they're driving in their car, on the way to work, grabbing the kids to go to school, whatever the heck they're doing. Yeah. I think it's the hardest thing in the world to do. My job is people come in the evening. They want to have a good time. Right. I can change the songs. I can rearrange them so that they'll work in an evening show instead of a radio.
That's right, because it's very different.
Totally different.
I mean, songs these days have to be, under 3 minutes. Yeah. And so that's just too fast when you're live. Yep. I mean, it's kind of like, making love to your wife, it don't last that long. Yeah. And she wants more. Yeah. And you're done.
It's over.
You're done.
That's one way to put it, Keith.
That's one way to put it, yes. Well, this is a G-rated show. No, just kidding.
No, that's exactly right, though. Right. So the thing that I do the most, Amy and I do, you're mentioning Amy, is we rearrange the songs for live. Yeah. And how we do that is we take these songs that you've recorded and find the moments inside those songs and develop them. Yeah. Now, what we do is we develop two things. We develop themes. There's things in there like I just got a recording from a group right here. One of the guys in Avalon, just a bunch of different groups. Anyways, and immediately I see ways to develop the song. The song is getting pushed to radio, and it's 3.5 minutes. Right. But live, it could actually turn into a 7, 8, 9 minute song, and no one's worried about this is a 7-minute song.
They're not looking at their watch because they're watching a guitar solo.
That's exactly
they're
right.
watching some extended intro that you're coming up with to set the table.
Yep.
Right.
So, to me, you have to develop two things: the themes inside your songs, whether they're vocal themes, rhythmic themes, lyrical themes. There's inside those songs. I go in and I start cherry picking. Sometimes I'll take like a very cool background harmony that the producer stuck in. Right. And it's, in some ways, some of the coolest part of the song. So we bring it out and develop that part live.
That's cool.
So we develop themes. The second thing we need to do in a show is develop characters. And characters are the artist. In other words, you have got to rearrange your songs so your personality comes out. Right. You just don't play songs.
Exactly. Otherwise, just play a jukebox.
Yeah. Yep.
It's boring.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So how do you do that? You kind of do you spend some time with the band, and talk, and actually each player, and kind of see what makes them tick and how they're presenting themselves, and then you develop that, or is that kind of how you do it, or is it mainly from a musicianship, like where they're at on stage type of deal?
Well, they play, and the truth is, in most cases, unless you really get deep and they have, being honest, a lot of money, I usually don't get past too much the rearrangement of the song.
Yeah, you're good at that.
Speaking to an audience, dealing with the front people. The front people are obviously the lead singer, the guitar player, the soloists.
The solos,
yeah. And then it doesn't mean I don't mess with the bass player and drummer because I'm a bass player, but the point is, usually you don't have time to develop it as deep as I just was having this conversation an hour ago, as much as I'd like with most artists. Yeah. But if you have a great front man, your songs are arranged well, it's interesting to watch. So I just play, and then I just start moving the pieces on stage and changing the song.
Well, one thing that I know from watching you many, many times is you during the song, if the guy's doing a guitar solo, he doesn't just stand there.
Right.
Like the singer comes to the back, the guitar guy steps up.
What we want to do with every song is direct the audience's attention to what's important in the song. Right. So is it a lyrical line? Is it a vocal line? Is it a solo? Yeah. Is it rhythmic? So the idea is, what should this song look like so the audience gets it? If we're doing this, the two of us are sitting here, but let's say there's another 30 people around us. Yeah. But the main focus, obviously, is what we're doing. You wouldn't have that camera way in the back hitting all 30 people.
Of course not.
And our voices going on like this, because this would be misdirection.
Right.
Everyone would be paying attention. Not everyone, but this would be distracting to our conversation.
Sure.
So it's the same thing with what happens on stage. What do you want the audience to look at during this part? Well, obviously, if it's a vocal part, the vocalist.
Right.
If it's a musical part, yeah.
Be the guitar
If
player.
you're doing something, some sort of riff, like a cool little da 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 boom, the bass player and the guitar player, bring them together so that people can see the riff instead of just try to figure it out for themselves.
Yeah.
Because you've heard me say this: audiences are ignorant.
They're not stupid.
They're not stupid. They're ignorant.
Right.
So they don't know what to pay attention to unless you show it to them.
I have a saying. I said, audiences are like dumb as sheep. They need to be led.
They do need to be led.
So it's dumb as sheep. They're just dumb. They don't know.
you need.
Gotta lead them. You're the shepherd.
You need to know. You need to know how to lead your audience.
Right.
You need to have a plan, just like a movie.
Yeah.
You know, the director has a script. Now, can you veer from that script on spontaneous parts? Of course you can.
Sure.
But you know what you're trying to accomplish. Here's where, somebody gets shot. Here's where there's a love scene. And you're going for that emotion. Here's the chase scene. So there's tension. Here's, the
movie is.
And that's what that's what a show should be. Instead of song talk, song, talk, and I hope something good happens.
Right. Well, what's more exciting, a railroad track or a roller coaster?
I think roller coaster.
Right. So you're building those things, in there. And I've heard you say too, it's kind of like if you're living in the East Coast and you want to go to LA, your GPS kind of, you know where you're going, but you can get off the road and go see the biggest ball of yarn.
Yes.
Or whatever.
Yeah. The idea of a show is to create many moments, not just one.
Right. Yeah.
I bet everyone we're talking to, I don't want to bet, but I would say most everyone, if I said, okay, I'm going to listen, play me a song, you're going to play the one song that you know works. Yeah. But the key here is that song came to you randomly, meaning you wrote it or you picked it or whatever, and it just landed in your lap and it was like, oh, beautiful thing, and it works, and there you go. But the problem is, what do you do with all those other songs? So what you want to do is create moments out of those other songs on your recordings. Right. Fun moment, and you want to have different moments. It's like a meal.
Yeah.
I just finished. I'm literally at the very end of editing a new singer-songwriter DVD series.
Oh, good. That'll be
just
great.
For singer-songwriters.
Oh, that's awesome.
And performance, not how to write a song. It's all about how to perform. Exactly.
Yeah.
And how to pick it apart so you can create those moments.
Well, that'd be great.
And I use the analogy of a restaurant. So let's just say I find, there was 100 some artists there, and I bring them up on stage, and you could tell this person's main course in the meal is their words.
Right.
And then I had them play another song, and then it was their words, and the third song was their words. And so I use the analogy of, like, right down the street here is Ruth Chris Steakhouse, which has great steak.
Right.
But if I go in there and I'm like, oh, steak, words, steak, words. But after about the third or fourth bite, I want salad.
Yeah.
I want bread.
Something different.
I want something. Yeah. And when I go to that salad, if it's just as good as the steak, now we're on the verge of having a great meal.
Right.
But what most people do is they stake people to death. So a vocalist will sing and sing and sing and sing. So everyone's supposed to pay attention to their voice every song.
Right.
Mistake. Yeah. The idea is to have vocals. The idea is to have musical things. The idea is to have words. The idea is to have multiple things. I mean, how many people actually have a fun moment in your show? Back to the restaurant. Right. If you ask people, we're sitting in a little club here, and when people walk in tonight and you would have had this interview, why are you here? I'll bet you 80% would say, I want to have some fun.
Right, of course.
Yeah, I want to have some fun. So, how many of you actually have fun written in your show? Now listen, I don't mean fun for you, because of course it's fun for you.
Right.
You're standing on a stage above people, your adrenaline's pumping, there's people looking at you, they're clapping for you, it's fun. I'm talking about for them.
Yeah.
And how many of you created fun moments so that your audience will go, that was fun.
That was fun. Right.
Another moment would be a touching moment. Another moment would be a musical moment. Another would be a rhythmic moment. And so now we know our main chorus. Let's go back to this singer-songwriter, which is words. But I would push her vocally into some cool vocal moments,
Right.
even if she doesn't have a great voice, or he.
Right.
If Dylan can win a vocalist of the year,
Right.
anyone can sing.
Yeah.
There's a musical moment. There's a fun moment. Now what we have is a variety, and this is where your merchandise goes way up, is because everyone is not going to be a fan of the words.
True.
Somebody's going to be a fan of, oh my gosh, that voice just touched me, or that fun part. So they'll go back to your merchandise table and look for that moment, not the one moment that was handed to you randomly and you've done for the last 10 years.
Right.
Am I making sense?
Absolutely. I mean, you definitely absolutely know what you're doing. So, a big mistake that I see a lot of singer-songwriters do when they get up and they do 30-minute set, they play every song the same way.
Yeah.
It's just like they strum the same way.
No dynamics.
Or they're just screaming their head off.
Yep.
And nothing irritates me more than to hear that, especially from a female songwriter that is just screaming. Like, what do you do with them? I mean, how do you train them to not do that?
They need to buy my book, hire us. I mean, I don't know what else to say.
Yeah.
It really comes down to understanding how to cook a meal. Go to a chef school. I guess I'm going to teach you how to be a chef, wink, wink, when it comes to the show. Because yes, if she has a great voice and can go off, let's put that in a couple times.
Right.
But let's not do it time after time after time after time.
Everything
And it's the same thing with when sometimes some young bands say, well, what do you do? And I say, well, I work on people's show. And they go, we don't need you.
No.
We run around stage all night long. I'm thinking,
That doesn't matter.
so what?
Yeah.
That's like a bad action movie with no plot.
People don't want to see that either.
No.
You're
A small percentage.
Yeah, a little bit, but not the whole.
Yeah.
But you got to change it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's called changing pressure on the audience.
Yeah.
And it's musical and it's verbal and it's visual, and blending those all together is what makes a great show. And it's yes, waterfall. I've worked with waterfalls on stage.
Yeah.
People flying through the air. On and on and on. And people think, well, I can't really do a show until I get those things. No way. You can do a great show without those gags. Gags are fun if you have the money.
Yeah.
But you know what? They're overrated.
Yeah.
And people scream all the time, yeah, oh, look at something blew up, or whatever. But you can create a good show without one gag.
Right.
You have to be able to write a show just like it's like this. I call those big tours, Pink, Taylor, Madonna, big heavy rock bands. Those are action movies.
Yeah.
So action movies, there's things exploding, there's technology, there's all this kind of stuff. But I look at people who are independent artists as more like a dialogue movie, where instead of me punching you about something, because that would be an action movie.
Right.
This would be like a dirty look at you, and it gets the same effect in the context of an indie artist in a smaller stage.
Yeah, that's good. So, how can people find out about you, Tom? Because we're probably getting toward wrapping up. We keep these at about a half hour.
No worries.
We're getting there. So how does somebody find out about you and your material so they can learn?
Well, the first place would be onstagesuccess.com. Onstagesuccess.com is where I have books. I have a DVD series called All Roads Lead to the Stage.
Yeah.
Now, the reason I called it that is because I don't know about you, but for me, my goal as a musician wasn't to go in the studio and sit around this and put my bass part on. Not that I'm against that. My goal wasn't to create a website. My goal wasn't to go on Facebook. My goal was to do all these things so I could walk out on the stage and do what I love to do.
Yeah.
So I got a DVD series. I have a book. It's in a lot of colleges. It's been used. It's on tons of buses touring the U.S. I've got people that have millions and millions and millions of record sales still that have it on their bus. And if they can use it, I think you could probably use it.
Man, that's great. And you teach still around the country, right?
I do have some conferences. Go to the website and sign up for the email list. We do blogs.
It's really worth it. It's good
And
stuff.
and I'm not going to teach you how to act. I'm not going to teach you how to be goofy. I'm not going to teach you what the idea is to, just to create these moments that
People will remember. Yeah.
And you may have to come out of your comfort zone a little bit at times. Yeah. But so some people go, well, I got to come out of my comfort zone. That's not natural. That's a crock of crap.
You'll learn.
Yeah. Well, think about when you started playing guitar. Did you just sit down and jam? No, you had to go.
Yeah.
And was it comfortable? It wasn't comfortable. In fact, at first your hands hurt. But on-stage success, if you're an artist doing a lot of dates, this is a side thing I do, but it's really important to me. If you're doing a lot of dates, I work with charities that help artists with tour support. You can go to livemusicgives.com, livemusicgives.com, and fill out an inquiry form to see if we could chat. And I've got indies making $40, $50, $60, $70,000 extra a year while helping people on the planet.
That could help.
Oh,
That could pay gas.
it's fantastic.
You could actually eat on the road.
Two beds in one room instead of one bed, or
Wow.
all kinds of things.
That's pretty remarkable. I know you've been doing that for a very long time.
26 years I've been doing that.
It's amazing.
Yep.
And how many charities do you currently have?
I have.
That you're
Well,
representing?
it
That you're
changes a little bit.
right.
In fact, I just got approached by Catholic Relief Services, which is a massive charity. But Food for the Hungry, I started the World Vision Artist Program. The artist program, didn't start World Vision, not that old.
Right.
Food for the Hungry, Holt International, Child Fund, Prison Fellowship, a variety of things to help artists. MAP International, which delivers medicine overseas. It's an awesome
Good one.
charity.
Yeah.
And they have artist programs that will help you if you're out playing shows.
Yeah.
You help get a kid sponsored or help get a cure pack sponsored, and they pay you, and it's legit. It's
it is.
fantastic.
It's totally legit.
Yeah, it's a win-win.
It totally is a win-win. Well,
Yeah.
it's a win-win-win for everybody.
Yeah, it is.
For the artist, for the organization, and for
the kids.
whatever the kids.
Yeah.
So that's awesome, man. Well, it is so good to be back spending time with you. I know you've been extremely
It's been a
busy.
while.
It's been a while,
Yeah.
and life goes on. And
It does.
I've always respected you so much and
Well,
feared
thanks.
you just a little bit because you've done so well in your career.
It's by the grace of God.
But I've
really,
learned a lot from
seriously.
you just how to talk on stage by watching how you talk on stage
Oh, well,
because I'll
thanks.
MC my event,
Yep.
And I've learned a little bit about how to do that, but you're constantly learning. But you actually do what you say and what you teach. I watch it and it's amazing.
I try to. Just to wrap this up, I'm here. I'm here to help you guys. That's as simple as that.
Yeah.
I've done plenty. I don't need anything except I still feel like it's relevant. What I teach, I know it's relevant.
Yeah.
I just worked with Ed Cash's group, and they opened for Chris Tomlin at Red Rocks. And these are guys who are Ed's a total veteran, producer of the year, blah 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 blah, and they just killed it. And I wish I could show you the texts they send me. Like,
That's
it's
awesome.
almost embarrassing.
Yeah,
but I'm here to help you. That's the point. And those products are here to help you. Oh, and we do work one-on-one. I have an associate named Amy Walter, who you were talking about.
Yeah, Amy does a great
and
job.
boy, did Joe's show change.
Oh, yeah, like a remarkable.
Yeah.
I mean, it was amazing how he was setting, the tension thing and how he would come out. He actually came off stage here and sat and sang to somebody, which was cool. Had a wireless mic for him. But his guitar players, man, they were doing dueling solos, and they just looked so professional.
Yeah.
I was like, these guys are professional. They're not amateurs.
So what drives me crazy is I get these emails, and I've got them this week, of people, oh my gosh, if they could just hear me and they could just see me. And they show me the video, and they're not ready. They're not ready. Just because you feel you've got a calling, just because you love your music, it's got to translate to people.
Yeah.
And the frustration is that people aren't getting it. Well, I can help them get it.
Did you ever read the Story Brand book?
What is it?
It's called Story Brand.
Uh-uh.
Man, is it good. It talks about flipping your mindset from thinking that you're the hero to actually thinking that the audience is the hero.
Quite a concept.
You know what I mean? So it's like changing your mindset that you're the one that's here to save the day. They're actually here to save your day, and you just need to be able to help them save the day for you.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, they
You're
go
serving
for
them.
They go for 3 reasons: to be captured and engaged, to experience moments and have their lives changed. If you're doing that in your show, you will you'll develop a fan base, but you got to know how to do it.
Yeah.
Capture and engage, create moments, and change their lives. Now, you figure out how to do it, or buy the material and start learning how to do it.
Yeah, it's definitely worthwhile, and Tom does give away so much great information on his site too, and in the newsletters. It's great. So, man, brother, it is great to have you here. Fist bump. And again, this is Tom Jackson, and this is going to bring us to the end of Musicians Anonymous show. Thanks again for checking us out and checking out the shows. Make sure you share the feed with people and share the website, musiciansanonymousshow.com. And we'll see you back here again for another show real soon. Bye.
Thanks.